After Romulus vanished in a storm, Rome was leaderless, a city of warriors without a king, torn between ambition and tradition. But from the hills of the Sabines came a man unlike any Rome had known. He wielded no sword, he led no armies. Instead, he brought rituals, calendars, and gods. His name was Numa Pompilius. While Romulus forged Rome in war, Numa forged its soul. This is the story of the philosopher king who shaped the Roman religion, established its sacred laws, and claimed to speak with a goddess. A king of peace, surrounded by the echo of war. According to tradition, Numa Pompilius was born on the day Rome was founded, April 21st, 753 BC, in Cures, a Sabine town in central Italy. He was not Roman by blood, and yet his destiny was bound to Rome's foundations. A philosopher, lawgiver, and deeply religious man, Numa stood apart from the hard-edged warriors of early Rome. After Romulus's mysterious disappearance, struck by lightning or torn apart by senators depending on the source, Rome's elders ruled jointly for a year. This interregnum threatened the fragile unity between Latins and Sabines. Eventually, the Senate agreed. The next king would be Sabine. They chose Numa, but he refused. He had no desire for power. It was only after multiple appeals, including from the Roman people themselves, that he agreed to take the throne. Before entering Rome, he consulted the augurs, religious seers, to ensure the gods approved. The omens were favorable. The throne was his. Numa was not just a compromise between tribes. He was a philosophical counterweight to Romulus, a man of peace, ruling a city of soldiers. Numa's reign is unique in Roman tradition, 43 years without war. Rather than expand Rome's borders, he expanded its institutions. He believed that people defined by conquest would destroy themselves without a moral and religious framework to guide them. So he built one, from the ground up. His most important reforms were religious. He established the Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest, a role later held by emperors. He founded major priestly colleges, including the Flamines, Salii, and Vestal Virgins, each with carefully structured duties and taboos. He instituted worship of gods like Janus, god of beginnings, and Terminus, god of boundaries. He built the Temple of Janus, its doors open in times of war and shut in times of peace. During Numa's reign, they remained closed. He also introduced a new lunar calendar to replace the chaotic system of Romulus, dividing the year into 12 months, introducing intercalary months to align the calendar with the seasons, and giving us the basic structure that would evolve into the Julian calendar. Through ritual and order, Numa transformed Roman identity. No longer merely a band of raiders, Rome was becoming a civitas, a structured sacred community. Perhaps the strangest and most symbolic element of Numa's rule was his relationship with the nymph Egeria. According to legend, Egeria was a divine spirit who dwelled in a sacred grove near Rome. She became Numa's consort, counselor, and source of divine inspiration. In secret meetings, she revealed to him the rituals and laws the gods wished for Rome to follow. To skeptics, this was myth. To believers, it was proof that Rome's religious order came directly from the divine. Whether literal or metaphorical, the story of Egeria tells us something important about Numa. He claimed legitimacy not through arms, but through sacred wisdom. Later Roman writers, from Livy to Plutarch, debated the truth of these stories. But even skeptics admitted Numa's laws endured. The Sacra Publica, public religious rites, would remain central to Roman identity for centuries. Numa's vision extended beyond temples and priests. He established civil laws rooted in religious taboo. For Numa, law and ritual were the same thing, both expressions of cosmic order. He outlawed human sacrifice, replacing it with symbolic rituals. He codified the auspices, ensuring that all political decisions required divine approval through omens. He created rites for marriage, funeral customs, and agricultural festivals, integrating daily life into the sacred calendar. Perhaps most enduring was his formalization of Vestal Virgins, priestesses of Vesta, goddess of the hearth. These women tended the sacred fire of Rome, a flame that symbolized the eternal life of the city. These institutions, founded or systematized by Numa, turned Rome into a religious state, one where the gods were consulted in every matter and tradition was sacred law. Numa died peacefully after 43 years of rule, a rarity among Roman kings and later emperors. He was buried near the Janiculum Hill outside the Pomerium, Rome's sacred boundary. But his story didn't end with his death. Centuries later, during the reign of Consul P. Cornelius Cethegus, around 181 BC, farmers near Numa's tomb discovered two stone chests. One bore his name, the other his writings. Inside were scrolls, said to be Numa's own religious treatises. But when they were examined, something strange happened. The Senate ordered them burned. Why? Their contents were deemed too dangerous. Some claimed they contradicted established religion. Others believed they exposed Roman rites as political inventions. Either way, the writings of Rome's second king were deliberately destroyed. A philosopher king silenced by the very state he had shaped. Numa Pompilius left a legacy that would endure far beyond his life. Where Romulus created Rome's body, Numa gave it a soul. His reforms instilled a religious structure that defined Roman identity for centuries. From the early Republic to the imperial cult of Augustus, Roman leaders traced their legitimacy back to Numa's sacred institutions. He was a symbol, not of conquest, but of restraint. A king who ruled without war, a ruler who led by law and ritual, not bloodshed. In a culture obsessed with military glory, Numa stood as a counterexample. The philosopher in the garden, the sage in the temple, the king who did not need a sword to hold power. And yet, after his death, Rome would return to violence. The kings to follow, from Tullus Hostilius to Tarquin the Proud, would wield iron, not olive branches. But for one brief chapter, Rome was ruled by a man who sought the gods, not the battlefield. In the long, violent history of Roman power, Numa remains an anomaly, a shadow of peace between two storms of war. He taught Rome to look inward, to bind its people with ritual and order. And though his words were burned, his influence lived on. In the Vestal's fire, in the temples of the Forum, in the solemn rites before battle. He was the king who spoke with gods, and the last king to rule Rome without spilling blood. If you found this journey into early Rome's sacred foundations intriguing, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more episodes of The Blood Crown. Let us know in the comments. Was Numa a visionary sage, or a myth draped in politics?